Well, this etymology video is probably going to be somewhat embarrassing. The thing is that I haven't really played Bloodborne yet since I don't have a PlayStation 4, but recently I accidentally stumbled upon one Bloodborne related name which appeared interesting to me from the etymological point of view. However, since I still don't abandon my hopes to finally play Bloodborne myself, I haven't really watched that many gameplay videos or read lore articles and discussions and stuff like that, not to spoil too much for myself, as I still hope to explore everything on my own someday. Thus I must note it right away that at the moment I'm not really that much into the Bloodborne lore yet, so this etymology video is kinda a blind one in this regard. However, from general things about Bloodborne, I guess that the possible meaning of the name that I thought of might in fact be a fitting one, so hopefully it's still gonna be interesting to those who have played Bloodborne and might see whether this meaning fits the lore or not. And actually I've been asked many times in comments to make some videos about Bloodborne. However, this video is only an experiment of blind etymology research, thus by no means I attempt to present it as something I'm totally certain about. Also, since I can't record actual Bloodborne footage, as you can see instead I recorded some background videos in Dark Souls 3, attempting to make characters similar to what I have seen about Bloodborne. So if they're correct they may be considered Bloodborne cosplay, and maybe later I can make a more detailed video on them if you like. But anyway, let's finally get to the etymology itself. So, the name is Yahar'gul, Unseen Village. What piqued my interest was that it actually might have some possibly related meaning in fictional languages invented by J.R.R. Tolkien. And, although I'm not too sure about pretty much Lovecraft-inspired Bloodborne, for Dark Souls, FromSoft actually picked several names based on Tolkien's Elvish languages, such as Anor Londo, Yahar'gul, and likely Lundor, as we discussed in the Behind the Names of Dark Souls Lands video. Thus I think that it's also possible that the devs could do the same in this case. So let's discuss the possible meanings of the name Yahar'gul. Element Ghoul is actually present in several languages created by Tolkien, in Black Speech, language invented by Sauron to be used by his servants. Ghoul means wraith, phantom, shadow. For instance, it's present in the word Nazgul which means ring wraith, as Nazg meaning ring plus Ghoul for wraith. And, again, it's embarrassing but I can't say much about the lore behind Yahar'gul, but from its title as Unseen Village, I guess that possibly this phantom, wraith meaning of the ghoul part might actually be reflecting the unseen nature of the location. Now we may recall Tolkien's secondary world where, aside of normal world, there also was an unseen, non-physical world of spirits. For example, one could enter it by putting the One Ring on, and thus see the things of the spirit world but become invisible in physical world. Or, another example may be Nazgul, who have eventually lost their bodily forms and became permanently invisible in physical world due to the prolonged use of the 9 rings, that granted them powers and enabled to live both in physical and wraith worlds. So, may there be any parallel between this wraith world and Yahar'gul, which is also called an unseen village, and contains ghoul part that appears similar to Tolkien's word for phantom, wraith. However, element ghoul is also present in some of Tolkien's Elvish languages where it may have meanings of dark magic, sorcery, necromancy, forbidden knowledge, or, also, deep knowledge, deep lore, long study, science, wisdom. Probably derived from Proto-Quendi, the first language spoken by the elves in Tolkien's legendarium, element Knoll meaning knowledge, which is also related to such words as Knoll, knowledge, lore. So, the devs may have also picked element Ghoul for the deep knowledge, long study or dark sorcery. Necromancy meaning as well. As for the Yahar part, although I guess there isn't precisely such element in Tolkien's languages, it appears somewhat similar to actually 2 elements meaning but in different Elvish languages. Yar in Quenya and Agar in Sindarin. So Yahar could be inspired as somewhat an intermediate element formed from words for blood in different, but still related Elvish languages, or be a representation of Yar which should be pronounced with longer A. Well, again I'm not too sure whether such possible meaning fits the lore of the location or not, but I guess one of pretty much the central things in Bloodborne is actually the blood itself. Thus, such meanings appear quite peculiar. So, if indeed the devs have drawn the name Yahar'gul from Tolkien's languages, it may be translated as Blood Wraiths / Blood Phantom Unseen Village, or, alternatively Unseen Village of Deep Blood Knowledge / Blood Study, or Unseen Village of Dark Blood Arts / Blood Magic, which makes this name appear really intriguing and exciting to me. Also, as for the element Yar meaning blood, may it be actually related to Yar in Yarnam, which, as one of the possible options, may in such case mean home of blood as Yar plus Old English ham, from Proto-Germanic heimat, meaning home. However, in my opinion, such mix of fictional and real-life languages in one name would be weird, plus it wouldn't explain the N in Yarnam. so most likely it's not the case here. But we may note the Old Norse yarn or Old Irish yarn meaning iron, which are ultimately derived from common Proto-Indo-European root, which means blood. But that seems to be a really long shot, and of course other meanings of yarn are possible, but I'd really like to discuss this name separately and after having actually played the game. Returning to Yahar'gul, we may also note that in one of the versions of the Lord of the Rings text, there was present a name Yahar'gul, which belonged to one of the orcs whose name was ultimately changed to Gorbag. However, unfortunately, that doesn't give us much, since the name was discarded in the end, and Black speech is far less developed than Elvish languages. In fact, it has relatively few known words, but Gul is one of them. And the exact meaning of discarded name Yahar'gul is not known, which makes it way less likely to be the inspiration for Yahar'gul. Regarding the possible origins of Yahar'gul in real life, for Yahar part we may note as eri, Yehar, for saddle, as for Gul part, it may be similar to Persian Gul for flower, Arab Gaul meaning demon, Scottish Gaelic gull, genitive singular of gil meaning weep, cry, or words derived from Proto-Germanic element gulas meaning yellow, such as Norwegian, Swedish, Danish Gul. But I'm not really sure whether it's any of them fitting or not, and they appear less intriguing than Tolkien Elvish, Black speech theory of this name's origin. Though, again, it's really awkward since I haven't played the game myself and can't really tell how much are the theories we discuss correct or fitting. So unfortunately this video isn't about some really certain stuff, but rather is just an experiment and it's really quite possible that theories presented here are wrong. But, I hope that among the guys who will watch this video there are gonna be some who have actually played Bloodborne. So, if you have played it and know the Yahar'gul's story, could you please tell whether are the theories we discussed in this video fitting it at all? And if they are, how much are they fitting really, like just a little or it actually would make some real sense? Because to me it's really interesting as a test of how correct may such etymological blind guesses be, although researching the name of certain subject with only some general knowledge about its lore is really dumb indeed. And, naturally, I'd also like to research this and other Bloodborne names properly after actually playing the game and researching its lore, so possibly I'll return to this name and correct the theories if the ones we discussed today will then appear wrong. And, since we've already touched certain subject today, I'd like to talk about one more thing, a pretty useless information actually. So, in Dark Souls world we may face the Dark Wraiths. The former knights of New Londo who descended into Dark, likely following the four kings of New Londo, under the influence of Darkstalker Kaz, who seduced them with the powers gained via the Art of Life Drain that he offered. However, their decisions led to the outbreak of the Abyss and the fall of New Londo. Well, actually we may find somewhat similar stories in Tolkien's Legendarium, but they aren't really unique for Tolkien at all. Anyway, the useless info is that in Tolkien's, or rather Sauron's, Black speech we may form the word for Dark Wraith, which may be interesting little, as the Black speech is far less developed than Elvish languages and not that many words are known. But from what is definitely well known we may form a word Busil which would mean Dark Wraith, as composed from Burs meaning dark and Gul meaning phantom, wraith. And generally, I guess there actually could be some partial Nazgul inspiration behind the Dark Wraiths and Kings of New Londo. Now, I guess I'll have problems explaining why was it so necessary to mention this, because I can't really tell myself, but I hope that it was interesting for you. And, once again, I apologize for the uncertainty of this video, but to me this possible meaning of Yahar'gul appeared really intriguing and I wanted to talk about it right away. So, thanks for watching. I hope that it was interesting for you and the theories we discussed are at least partially correct or even simply not boring. Also, check out other lore and etymology videos on my channel if such things are interesting to you, as, usually there's far more certain stuff discussed in them, though some rather brave speculations might still be present. Or maybe you may also like to check out my historical or berserk manga characters cosplay videos. Also, you can check out the video description for a link to the etymology videos table of contents, if you're interested in this topic, as it's meant to make it easy to find the discussion of the necessary names.